Most obvious way that everyone's going to be talking about is people don't have as much money to spend on things, and we are a comic book store. We do not sell anything that comes even close to being an essential. This is all stuff that you buy once you've got everything else taken care of. So when you've got gas and electric and food and rent even going up, childcare, who else knows what's going up, just fueling your car. Once you've got that taken care of, there's a lot less money left to buy the latest issue of Batman or a new action figure. Yeah, we've still got people who are lucky enough to have some great jobs, but comic books are there for everyone. Like, kids buy them, and parents who now have to worry about childcare for 3 kids are more concerned with that than buying some comic books. Add to that the fact that all the stuff I've just said to you are going up for us as well. Our utilities and electricity and all that have gone up, and our rent went up about 50% a couple of months back, which was a bit of a hit. That, and as I say, customers spending less, including long-term customers, people who've been with us as a business for 6 or 7 years, are having to reduce their orders or pull back entirely because they have other things to do, and it's hard to be angry with them. Yes, I'd rather be spending money here, obviously this is my job, but I don't hold it against anyone if they're prioritising more important things than Spawn comic books. And me and my business partner have been having some conversations recently about what kind of terms we're in with contract with our suppliers if we do go under, because 6 months ago this wasn't a concern, 2 months ago it was, and we're looking at potentially downsizing, doing more online things, moving location somewhere a little bit cheaper for the rent, but which will be a smaller place obviously. What I want to do is keep going. This is my dream job. I've always wanted to do something like this. I've worked in other comic book stores and other stores. The idea of being my own boss and just running stuff the way I want to has done us really well for years. We got through Brexit when the prices of everything went up by 25 to 30% because we import from America and the international currency markets went haywire, and then we got through the COVID lockdowns because we've got a lot of regular customers who buy comic books every week, and you can post comic books out. I know friends who work in bars or do tattooing, and they couldn't. Their business went under. We survived those 2 massive things. This one is the closest thing we're going to come to potentially putting us out of business. Fingers very much crossed. We're not quite there yet, but it's definitely conversations we've been having.
Catch is a Leeds-based charity that has been working with the local community of Hare Hills for over 10 years. But they are not just a charity. Catch has become a safe space for young people and adults to get off of the streets and reach their full potential in a welcoming and friendly environment.
People need to realise that Catch isn't just, an organisation for members just to come in and take part in activities. I think they need to understand that Catch is much more than that. It gives them an opportunity to prepare for the future, which is very rare. You members are given the opportunity to come during the day on a weekend to come and help out with the farm. Now we don't tell them to do it. They do it from their own, they volunteer to do it, and we appreciate that, and we like to give them the opportunity because they feel proud of themselves, which is very important.
Members can get involved in one of the many volunteer-led projects at Catch. Grow Together is a project that grows fresh food for the local community, and the educational farm provides a unique opportunity for members to work with animals.
I lead on the farm, so as you can see here, we have over, I would say, 50 raised beds where it has been built by young people for the community. We are planting here vegetables, and once they are ready, we collect them and we give out to the community. We also have we have 21 goats where we look after them.
Both are projects designed and built by their young volunteers. I'm Mia Hagger from Leeds Trinity University in Hare Hills, Leeds.
Thank you, Damia. The report by Baroness Louise Casey looked at the Met Police's standards of behaviour and internal culture. She said she had found evidence of institutional racism, sexism and homophobia, but she stressed many of these issues are far from new and not limited to the London force. Joining me in the studio is Donna Eastham, a former officer for the West Yorkshire Police. Thank you for joining me, Donna.
No problem.
So, as a former police officer for West Yorkshire Police, how does this report make you feel?
I think it's sadness that it's come again in the wake of a real tragedy with Sarah Everard, but overwhelmingly frustration, review after review after review, and what changes. And I think ultimately the message that lots of people get and wider society get is that the police are untouchable because they don't have to change.
And is this something you've seen or experienced with yourself within the West Yorkshire Police Force?
Yeah, I think that, you know, we could replace the Met Police in Baroness Casey's report with UK police forces. I don't think it's the Met Police are unique in this by any means. I think this could be applied to all West Yorkshire police forces. And, you know, there are leadership within the forces that must be looking at this report and wondering and thinking, is this part of what we do as well?
And within the report, it stated that the majority of Met police officers do not represent the people of London. Do the West Yorkshire police officers represent the people of West Yorkshire?
Yeah, I think that's twofold really. I think that the problems with Met police officers being able to live and work in London contribute significantly to that. I think that West Yorkshire police officers are more representative of the communities that they serve, but there's still lots to be done in terms of equity for everybody joining the police and people wanting to join the service as well, seeing people like them and wanting to represent their community.
And as someone who teaches current police officers, in September you'll be teaching some new officers as well, how important do you think education is with changing the police?
I think it's central and it's critical to professionalise the police force, allow people to think critically, to know the context of the society that they're policing in and be able to operate in that wider environment. It's really key moving forward for the police force to effect change.
And do you think this education will help police officers change their perspectives?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think professionalising the force is one of those things that will elevate the standards, enable officers to, you know, lots of people who typically wouldn't have come to university to gain an education and feel as though they're part of something in society.
Unfortunately, that's all we have time for. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So this is the 5-day survey is only a pilot survey. So we are going to be taking some geophysical instruments and for the first time really testing them out in Croatian waters. They're a little bit warmer. The geology is a bit different. And so we're trying to basically see the submerged landscape that's under the water that was left behind at the end of the last ice age and try and map that landscape. And so in future surveys, we'll be able to go back, locate the really features of interest to archaeology and hopefully go back and recover some archaeological information in the next years.
Are there any kind of specific artifacts you're looking for? Because I know it's from like a specific period that you're expecting to find, but is there anything in particular you're hoping to find?
So we're specifically looking for the late Paleolithic, so it's the end of the glacial ice age. It's when people start to becoming and have the societies that begin to become us. So we're looking at people who are hunter-gatherers, but we're looking for materials such as stone tools, which maybe they used to hunt animals and game, where things potentially would, because again, one of the things underwater sites preserve well are the organic things. So it could be fabrics, it could be wooden structures, but we're also looking for the environmental evidence, things like peat, things like clays from the sea level, which will tell us about sea level rise and the history of how the landscape responded to the end of the ice age. And that's really important to telling us how humans responded in the past to climate change, and potentially will tell us, you know, how we're going to have to face a similar sort of climate change in the future, which is really, really interesting. We will be working with a new 3D sub-bottom echo sounder from Innomar, which allows us to look. It basically sends down a big sound wave pulse through the water and it penetrates into the seabed and goes below the seabed. And the echoes that come back from that tell us about the information in the seabed down to basically a 10 centimeter level precision, which is really, really high levels of precision for that kind of device. So not only do we get a map of the seabed, but we get a map of everything below the seabed. And that's really, in Croatia, doing it at that high resolution for archaeology is a really cutting edge thing. It's quite a technologically involved piece of kit, but it really is revolutionising how we do archaeology on the seabed.